More sales is not the only way to make more money. You can double your income without working more hours or closing more deals. And today, I'm going to show you how. This is Commission, and I'm Todd Tremonti. I have a real estate team in the Dallas-Fort Worth area selling hundreds of homes plus every year. And this is something that I see a lot. Agents will charge the same fee as every other agent in their market. Not because that's what they're worth, but because that's what everybody else charges. But here's the thing. There is no standard fee in real estate. There is no set commission. Your fee should be based on your value, not your competition. In this episode, I'll tell you exactly what to say to make that happen. What to say on the phone to get the appointment, what to say during the appointment so that they say yes before they even know what your fee is, and what to say when they bring up a competitor who charges less. Let's get into it. All right, folks, by now I hope you know, but real estate is not a one-size-fits-all business. There's not a single thing about it that works for literally everyone. I'm sure we could come up with some exceptions now that I said not a single thing. But the reality is this one strategy fits all mentality can get you to a certain level of success, but it cannot get you to sustained growth. And as an owner, leader, operator type who may want to get less operator, more owner, leader, this is likely to be the thing that is already your ceiling. Obvious stereotype here than the real estate agent who only has the spring and summer strategy, or will quickly become scenario. Then look, we price them the same way every time. There's no more obvious, right? And look, there's no more, we market them the same way every time. And by the way, this one strategy fits all might apply to different parts of your business, right? So you might have one listing strategy, one buyer strategy. You might have one hiring or training strategy, which inevitably means you have more than one strategy, but in each area of your business per se. So this mindset that a lot of people have, like, man, it ain't broke, don't fix it. I got the trophies. I'm a top producer. I'm in the diamond club or whatever, is likely to be the thing that's hurting you. So let's dig into that a little bit. By the way, Grady Dill, Director of Regs, helping me coach agents all over North America. Welcome to the pod.
Thank you for having me.
You know, I don't use the word pod much.
I like the word pod.
I know you do. Boy, do I know that you do. Okay, folks, here's the thing. This if it ain't broke, don't fix it is only true if you're forever happy with where you are. So, right, it ain't broke. You're selling a bunch of houses. It ain't broke. You're making $300,000 in GCI or maybe even net income every year. As long as you're cool with that being your forever future, or that being your cap potentially, meaning there will be some down years, but probably not a lot of up years, or that'll be your gross, but your net will fluctuate, or whatever the case may be there. Then that might be true for you. It's not broken, so look, don't fix it. But sometimes things that aren't broken still do need to be fixed, and they need to be fixed to provide for growth or to provide for adaptation to the marketplace. There were a lot of people in residential real estate in 2019 that were coming to grips with a stabilizing market, and they were liking it, right? And so they were like, man, this is not broken. This is working well. I'm not going to change anything. But let's just say they said that in December of 2019. They're like, man, I'm not changing anything. This is rock solid. And then sometime first or second quarter 2020, they were like, oh, wow, the world just changed. And if they just said, look, no change needed. We're not going to consider virtual. We're not going to consider Zoom or more phone or how to show properties in a different way, or we're not going to change anything about how we can show property or how we scale our company or how we staff this thing. Imagine the amount of opportunity that would have been missed out on in 2020 and 2021, where the pace and operation and strategy of business just had to change. Now, that's an extreme example. There's not a lot of people that would have been like, nope, I'm not changing anything, because it felt like survive, live or die. But take that down to the everyday level and just ask yourself, are you operating under like, man, this is working. Why would I change anything? The question I would then challenge you with is, do you want anything more or different? Do you want to work less and make the same? Do you want to work less and make more? Do you want to help invest in more people? Do you want to have more leverage? Do you want to help more families? Do you want to have more net profit? Do you want to have more net impact? There's a lot of things that you might say, look, it's going well, but I still want to have more to offer. The other thing to think about is like, man, You might say, this is working for all my clients, but let me challenge you with another question. Could it work better for your clients? Could you add more value? Could this be more valuable to them, more convenient to them, more enjoyable to them? Could this be more referable experience? It may not be broken, but there may be rooms for some real growth opportunity there. Opening your mind up to those things, answering those questions might help you grow beyond where you are so that your one strategy is no longer your ceiling, okay? Now, there's another reason that the one strategy fits all might be your cap at the moment, and that's a word that's really uncomfortable. It's called ignorance. That doesn't mean stupid, it means something very different. Ignorance is when you lack the knowledge of something, right? I would say stupidity or lack of intelligence is you don't have the ability potentially to gain that new knowledge. Ignorance is just, I don't know yet. I have been wildly ignorant at every single stage of my life and career.
But ignorance is bliss.
It can be. There are times, but usually not sustainable. But the deal is this. It's okay to be ignorant for a little while. It's not okay to stay ignorant forever, right? There is some limitation of ability, but for most people tuning in here, that's not what you're wrestling with. You're probably wrestling with some unknowns that, if known, would really expand your life and your world and your income and your impact and your experience, okay? So what other way is there is a fair question until you know that there are other ways. And so if you're listening or watching right now you know there's other ways. There's more than the price high, sell low, sell spring and fall strategy. And if you want to implement those things in your business, if you want to figure out how to be more than a one-trick pony, more than a one strategy agent or business, click the link down below this video or this audio in the show notes, wherever you're consuming this. And I'd be happy to jump on a Zoom or a phone call with you for 15 or 20 minutes. I don't have a whole lot of those time slots available lately, but if there's one available on there, snag it, totally free. We'll talk about anything you want to implement to grow your business, especially getting beyond a one strategy business. And then of course, if you want to talk about coaching or VIP days or mastermind or attending an event, that's great, but there's no pressure for that. You don't have to pay for that. I'll give you 15 or 20 minutes of my time because I really do enjoy these conversations when I have the context to be speaking directly with you about your business and your life and how we can scale your income and your impact, get out of the chaos and into the freedom. Click the link, be happy to do that. Now, for the idea of ignorance is only your fault once you're aware of it, right? So I didn't know there was any other way. Man, what other way is there to run a residential real estate business? Well, now that you know that there's strategies that can attract this type of buyer, this type of seller, it can repel the wrong clients, it can attract a different price point. It can be geographically targeted. It can be psychographically targeted. Once you start to understand that there's a lot of different ways to do this to grow your business, there's a lot of different ways to serve your client. There are times that you might want to price a little bit ahead of the market. There's times that you might want to price a little bit below the market, drive competition and push price back up. Those are just a couple of examples of different strategies that you might begin to employ in your business that would allow you to be a little bit more prescriptive. What's your situation? Oh, we could do a little bit of this, we could do a little bit of that, we could go this way, or we could go that way, right? I always tell my team and our coaching clients, you're just looking for more tools to put into your tool belt. And as you see more problems, you can address those with more and more precision or more different ways, or you can adapt to the situation. There's a lot of people rolling around and all they have is a hammer, and they're just hoping everything's a nail, right? And they only know one way to swing it. And it's usually not full force, by the way. But, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's probably not going to work for you long term. The ignorance of, I didn't know there was any other way to do this, only works until you engage content like this, or someone like me, or someone who's been more successful for you with more ease and more joy. So wake up call, there's a lot of ways to do this. The other thing is that we celebrate simple a lot in small business. And by the way, I do too. So in some ways, maybe I'm part of the problem. I don't think so here, but I do celebrate simple. But what I want you to know is that a great business is as simple as it can be, but as complex as it needs to be. And complexity is often a great differentiator. And what I mean by that is you've probably fought to keep your business as simple as you can because it's complicated enough to help people buy and sell homes. And so you said, look, let's not make this any harder than it needs to be. Let's do it this way every time. But that might have led to this one strategy approach, where I'm saying a little more complexity might allow you to be a little more elite, be a little more valuable, be a little more convenient, a little more referable, have a little more fun, build a little more relationship. We're not looking for excessive complexity. I'll say it again, one of my kind of small business truths is as simple as it can be, but as complex as it needs to be. So if you're fighting for simplicity, has kept you to a one strategy approach. Again, I've given several examples of what that one strategy might be. I handle all the clients. I show all the properties. I schedule every showing. We always provide feedback. Whatever those things are, just that's the one way we do it. One strategy. Take photos, post photos, price here, settle here, whatever that is, you beginning to say, look, where could we add some complexity and it really add some value? Where could it make this more fun, more profitable, more helpful, more referable, those kind of things? That's where your business might really begin to improve. And I can tell you, in the early days of my career, when things started going well, and I started selling enough houses to have some extra income, some extra dollars around, I went and bought a franchise. It was a flat fee franchise. I wouldn't do it again, but I definitely don't regret it. And the point I'm getting to here is towards the end of that franchise agreement, I was like, this is a very simple way to do business, franchised way of doing it with a flat fee model. I don't want to do this long term. Wonderful people, no one did anything wrong, just wasn't what I wanted to do long term. But I began to test my model. Hey, if I added a little complexity there, if I added a little expense there, will that result in value to my client? Will that result in more efficiency? Will that result in higher sales prices, faster sales, lower sales prices for my buyers, more value, more negotiability, more flexibility, less liability, better recruiting, better training, better retention? All these things I started experimenting with, adding a little complexity, sometimes adding some expense. And if it helped, we kept it. If it didn't, we didn't. But that's the type of thing we're talking about. If the noise of how great simplicity is keeping you from at least some complexity, that kind of simple strategy, one size fits all, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, keep it simple, stupid, might be another thing that's hurting you and keeping you from being a little bit more creative, a little bit more complex in what you offer and the value you deliver. And I would argue is another reason that you've stuck with kind of the one strategy approach, and that's probably limiting you significantly. You're nodding. Are you feeling this?
Yeah.
You got a thought on this, or what's going on here?
No, I agree.
No? Just a strong confirmation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're going to feel this one, I know. All right. Most agents and team leaders have like a deep fear of complexity. So we just talked about simplicity and complexity. I'm not talking about that here. I'm talking about the fear piece, right? There's a reason that you might not have gone beyond what you're currently doing. And it's because honestly, you're not sure it's going to work, right? And so you have an ethical, probably an ethical belief that you don't experiment with your clients. You're not going to try new things that you're not sure about at the potential risk of your client's real estate transaction. You're going to protect them so well that you're not going to mess with that. And that's keeping you from adding the additional strategy. That's keeping you from making it a little bit less simple. That's keeping you from expanding beyond your current knowledge level or your ignorance. That's keeping you from fixing things that aren't necessarily broken. It's fear, and it's often tied in quality ethics. It's tied in care and concern for others. And it says, I'm afraid to hurt a client by trying something new. And so I think that's great. How do we solve for that? Here's your answer. You get around people that have already done it. You get around people that can equip you. Maybe that's a coach, maybe that's a broker, maybe that's a team leader, maybe that's someone in your role in another part of the country that's happy to share with you in whatever scenario. I mean, I think coaching is a great solution to that, but there are other ways, right? And you have someone that can, with confidence, build your trust in them and that strategy before you go, quote, test it on your clients. Because that's where a lot of that fear is rooted. So you alleviate the fear with confidence and trust, and then you go implement that with your clients. You try to show property a little bit different. You try to get a little more efficient. You try to save them some money, or you spend a little bit more money in hopes of a greater return for them before it's proven by your experience. It's proven by the experience of others that you trust. So that fear may be limiting you and keeping you in that one proven strategy world, where you could borrow the experience and the success of others through coaching or community or brokerage or team or whatever, and then implement the additional strategies to go beyond the one strategy without having to go headlong into with blind fear out of a quality ethical protection of your client.
I've got a question.
Mm-hmm.
Why, the thing I'm processing right now is for you to experiment, if you had a fear of experimenting something new, because you don't want to hurt a client, it doesn't, you experimenting or trying something new or implementing something new does not mean that you're hurting somebody. It doesn't guarantee that. It could totally benefit them. So I guess what I'm asking or trying to get to is what would the mindset change be there to, like, you have to understand you're not backing somebody into a corner.
Right, but you've seen a lot of coaching clients or event attendees or show viewers or listeners or whatever say things like this, like, whoa, what if?
Totally.
Right?
Yeah, it's caution.
And so what I'm saying to them is like, well, why did you ever take your first client? You didn't know before that, right? And their deal would be like, well, I got training. I was around other people in the office. I knew I had bought a home before. So I did what they did. And I'm like, great, let's take that principle
and now put it where you were just
and go learn a new way from someone else. Everyone in your office may be basically doing it the same way that your broker taught them or the team leader taught them. Now, hopefully if you're on a quality team, you're already beyond the one strategy deal. But I said at the front of the episode, like, lots of people aren't, and they're doing fine. We just don't want you to stay at fine. What I'm saying is, okay, who's doing something different or better? That I trust. That I believe I can borrow your experience and go, oh, okay, you're willing to explain it to me. Now, again, coaching is like, now I'm going to get process and details and depth instead of like, here's an idea, and you still don't trust it. So you protect your client by not doing it. But someone that's like, no, I'll show you how. Here's a video, here's a breakdown, here's a checklist, here's a call to jump on and talk to other people that have done it. Now there's a bunch of us that have done it. Okay, well now I know I can do it. And so it doesn't feel like experimenting at my client's potential risk. Now fear is no longer limiting me and keeping me in a one strategy model. Okay, and then finally, so we talked about if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, maybe you should. We've talked about ignorance limiting you. Well, let's expand beyond that ignorance and let's constantly be learning. And then number 3, we said, look, the celebration of simple is often a good thing, but it's sometimes a bad thing. As simple as we can be, but as complex as we need it to be. And then we said, look, most agents and team leaders have the fear of complexity, usually tied ethically to protecting their clients. Well, now we've kind of solved for that. And then ultimately, thinking like a salesperson. And by the way, I celebrate the title salesperson. I did an opening keynote at our summit one year on like, sales is service. Don't you ever apologize for being a salesperson. Selling is solving problems, is achieving dreams. It's not manipulating people into things they don't want or need. That's not it. That's like dirtbaggery. What I'm saying now is many of us in real estate are managers at best of a pipeline, probably just thinking of ourselves as salespeople who are just out grinding for one more deal. Great, it's still great to be a salesperson, but what I want to encourage you is to have more of a business owner's mentality. A salesperson says, look, I do a thing, and I go out and I try to do it over and over and over and over again. And that's not wrong. Even there's some creativity within the process of that. I'm not minimizing it. I'm proud to think of myself as a salesperson. But a business owner says, okay, I have sales, I have marketing and advertising, I have operations, I have financial, and there's some different strategies in those areas, and there might be multiple strategies within each one, and we're always improving the best strategies, and we're getting rid of the worst strategies, and that's a business owner's mentality. And having a salesperson or a pipeline manager's mentality only is likely to keep people in this one strategy mentality, which is hurting the vast majority of real estate agents all over North America. Now, if you believe any of the statistics that the National Association of Realtors puts out, and I believe their stats because I might be reluctant to publish them. They're so unflattering of their membership, right? Like, here's the stats. Most of our agents are terrible. That's believable. Like, I would believe it less if they were flattering, but they're not. Last year, they basically said 70+%, I think it's like over 73% of agents, all agents, all licensed agents who were members of the National Association of Realtors did 0 transactions in the calendar year. Okay, so I'm not here to rip on agents. I do that plenty, but as a whole, very bad at our jobs as an industry. Okay, so if that's true, and we take all of them out, we're left with the vast majority of the 27% or whatever that's left. still did like a handful of transactions, and less than 5% did 20 or more transactions in the year. So we're talking to such a small sliver of the group anyway, that when I say, man, if you would make the leap from salesperson only, love salesperson, if you would make the leap from pipeline manager, one more deal, to business owner, and allow yourself to bring multiple strategies into the business, you're going to find that things start to get a little easier, that income goes up, that the diversity of strategies gives you the ability to add more value for people, maybe charge a little bit more, maybe do a little bit less grinding, maybe enjoy your business, have more impact, give more. And now we're talking. Okay? So most agents, we just did the statistical analysis, most agents are not very good at this. Most agents have one strategy and one strategy only. Sadly, most teams also have one strategy. Primary strategies, one and one alone. I want to encourage you to expand your strategic thinking. Expand your strategic tool belt. Have more than one offer for buyers. Have more than one offer for sellers. Have more than one offer as you recruit agents to your business. And if I can help you with that in any way, there's a link below the video or the audio here to jump on my calendar, totally free. My gift to you is 15 or 20 minutes of me obsessing about your business with you and making whatever recommendations or tool introductions or people introductions I can to help you grow your business. If you want to talk more than that or explore coaching, private coaching, or group coaching, or mastermind, or an event attendance, or a VIP day, or anything else like that, you just let me know on that call or afterwards, and I'd be happy to. But on that call, there's no charge. I give you my time. Honestly, people say stuff like this, and I don't always believe them, but I really do love those calls. I love to open the hood, look at a business, and start solving and strategically thinking and creating vision for the future. So I will enjoy doing that with you for 15 or 20 minutes, and if we want to go beyond that, we can, but there's no commitment for that whatsoever. Click that link below the video or somewhere near this audio, and let's chat about implementing more than one strategy in your business so that you can own and operate a business that supports the life you want to love, that you love and that you want to live, and a business that helps you do that for those involved with your business, your team members, your staff, your clients, and on and on and on. Hit that link. We'll talk soon. I'll see you on the next one.